Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and today we're going to work on our final project for exploring computer science. This project is going to use the HTML skills that you've learned, the CSS skills that you've learned, and the JavaScript skills that you've learned to create a really cool web page. This web page is going to be your vision board. I don't know if you've ever seen a vision board before, but you know those collages where you put all the things on there that you want in your future, and then you think about it, and it becomes your goal. What do you want in the future? That kind of thing. We're going to do a little twist on that. We're going to make it a bit different. Instead of being a collage, we're making a web page where you can click to show pictures or images of the things that you want. So for example, here's mine that I put together. This would be an example of a finished project. Now the colors and everything that I've chosen, these are colors that I like for this project. You absolutely must choose different colors. Come up with a different color scheme. Don't just copy my color scheme. You can choose a different font. Design this in a way that kind of reflects your personality. So I have an H1 up here at the top that says Mr. Storm's vision board. Then I have my house. So I would like a house like that. That looks pretty nice, right? I would love a house like that. So that's the house I want when I grow up. My car. So Cadillac has a new all-electric called the Cadillac Lyriq, and it looks really cool. I love Cadillacs, and I would love to buy one of those. I would love one of those. My job. I would love to be a screenwriter. That's, I would love to just write movies and get paid to write movies. That would be fantastic. I would love that job. My bank account, obviously, I just want stacks and stacks of cash, like drug dealer type cash. Not real drug dealers are losers. They don't really make that much money. But I mean like fake drug dealers, like in the movies, where they have like giant stacks of cash, or like Breaking Bad, where he opens up his storage unit and it's just full of cash. That's kind of what I want. My spouse, Tom Cruise. Obviously, I want to marry Tom Cruise. I can write movies for him and then he can star in them. That would be a fantastic partnership. I would even convert to Scientology for him if he wants me to. Tom Cruise is my spouse. And then my hobby would be like what all rich people do, hunt people for sport, right? I would hunt humans for sport. My husband and I, Tom, we would use all of our money we made from acting and writing movies. We would drive our Cadillac out into the woods and we would hunt people for sport. So that's what I want my future to look like. So now I want you to come up with your future. It doesn't have to be these 6 categories. It doesn't have to be my house, my car, my job, my whatever. It could be whatever you want, right? So it's really, really simple to build this thing, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to build it. The difficulty comes in being creative and showing me your personality, right? Again, don't just copy what I've done. Create something new and unique to you. So I'm over here in Replit, and I'm creating a new REPL. I'm going to call it Vision Board. I'm just going to show you quickly how to build this project. All right. So we have our basic project open. Now, just like before, we're going to get rid of the script.js file and the style.css file. We don't actually, we are going to write some style code and some JavaScript, but again, just like our last couple of projects, we're not actually going to link to external style sheets and external JavaScript sheets because we're going to do it all within this one document. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and squish that out of the way. Okay, first things first, let's get my H1 on the page. You guys know how to do this already. Okay, my H1 is now on the page. Next, I want something called a div. Divs are basically containers for other objects within my project. So if I want, if we remember back to let me show you did I get rid of it? Anyway, it had different boxes, right? And inside the box were a couple of buttons, or a title, a couple of buttons, and an image, right? So we're going to create those boxes now. So, and those are going to all be inside of divs. So we want 2 buttons. So we want a H2, 2 buttons, and an image, right? So I'm going to create an H2 and I'll say my house. Okay. Now I know it's in, oh, hello. I know it's inside the div because notice that it's been indented and it's in between the div open tag and the div close tag, right? So that's how I know it's inside. Next, we want a button. We did this last week. Type equals button. Oh, I need quotes. All right. And on click, we are going to set that equal to document ment.get element by ID. And we will say, oh, hello, pick 1 for picture 1. So we're going to get an element, or we're going to get an element on our document by its ID. We don't have that element yet. We haven't created it, but we will in a minute. And we're going to assign the ID of pick 1 to it. So anything that has the pick 1 ID, we want to change its style. And we want to change the visibility. I always feel like I'm spelling that word wrong. We want to make it visible. Okay. So basically what that's doing there, and we don't need the spaces, but basically what that's doing there is we're going to say anything that has this ID, pick 1, we want to change its visibility and make it visible whenever this button is pressed, right? And so the text inside the button is going to be show. Oh, it already put the end tag in there for me. So that's my button. Now that's a lot, right? That looks like a ton, but really the most complicated part of it is this right here. As long as you get this exactly correct, line by, or character by character, you get it exactly the way I've written it here, you will be fine and it will work. Now, once we verified that all actually it's not going to work right now because we don't have the image in. But once we're sure that that is correct, we're going to copy it and paste it because we need another button. This one is still going to use the same ID, same element, but instead of making it visible, we're going to make it hidden. We're going to change that property of the JavaScript to make it hidden. Okay. Now, finally, we need an image for us to actually turn on and off with the buttons, right? So what we can do is we actually need to bring in our image. Let me go ahead and open up I have my downloads folder and I have all my pictures there that I use for my board. I'm going to drop them in here so that they're all right there, ready for me to go, or ready for me to use. So I'm going to make an image element. We'll say src equals, and this is going to be my house.jpg. Okay. We'll set the width to be equal to 100%. Now, here's the reason why we're doing that. The width percentage is going to be based off of the box that this thing is inside of, right? So if the box is 400 pixels, then my width is going to be 400 pixels. If it's, so on and so forth. So this will keep our pictures from bleeding outside of our boxes and creeping into their neighbor's box, right? We're going to set the ID to pick 1 so that our JavaScript actually works. It can find it. And we will set its visibility. Visibility. Again, I always feel like I'm typing that wrong. We'll set its visibility to hidden at the beginning of the... Why do I have a... I don't actually need that semicolon. Why did I type that? Anyway, at the beginning of the project so that it's not there when we first run it. So let me go ahead and run this and see what happens. So we have Mr. Storm's vision board, my house, show. We click it, and then the picture shows up. We click hide, and it goes away. So functionally, it's working now, right? The problem is it isn't exactly designed the way I want it to. So before we move on and start working on the rest of our boxes, let's go ahead and create some style. So I'm going to go up to my head section. I'm going to create a style tag, and inside here, I'm going to start designing my web page. All right, let's start with the body, the background color. So we'll say background hyphen color, and I'm going to use the same colors I used before. I'm just going to identify them by their hex values. Again, you're going to want to go find colors that you really like, that match the thing that you're designing, right? That match your vision board. All right, so that's the body. Let's change the H1s and H2s. We'll say color white. And by the way, you can we covered this already, but we kind of went over it quickly. You can style different elements if they have the same style just by linking them with a comma. So you can say H1, comma, H2, comma, P, and you can like style a bunch of different elements in the same way without having to rewrite style code, which is nice. So font, family, Verdana, text, align, center. Okay. All right. So let's see what that looks like. All right. So far, so good. It looks pretty nice, right? I got my colors in there, but my div is still way too big and it's not being styled the way I want it to. So what we're going to do is we are going to create something called a class. A class is going to be a special kind of style code or a special set of style code that's only applied to a certain item. So I'm going to create a class by typing period, then the name of the class. So this class is going to be called pickbox. So period, pickbox. And then I'm going to change a bunch of stuff. Let's change the background color. We'll make it BABBFF. And again, find your own colors, please. Width 400 pixels. Height, we'll make that 400 pixels. Border is going to be 3 pixels solid, and let's say 380, like a dark blue. Text align is going to be center. We'll set the padding. Actually, I don't need text align center. It's just doubling it up, but whatever, because I've already set my H2s to text align center. Oh well. Float is left. Now this float property, this is going to be very important. Whenever we start putting our more than just one box on there, the float property is going to make it so that the boxes will float onto the same. I'll explain it whenever we get more than one box. Anyway, so right there, that's all the design that we need for this one class. Now, in order to make this class actually apply to the div, we need to go inside the div open tag, and we need to type div class equals pick box, exactly the way it was written up here. Pick box. Beautiful. Let's run it and see what happens. Oh, look at that. So now I have my box that is designed the way I want it to. If I click show, it'll open up my picture. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm actually thinking that maybe that blue for the border isn't great. Let's go ahead and change that. Beautiful. That actually looks a lot better. I like the white better. So anyway, cool. So that is, and now that we've created this class, we don't ever have to write this style code again. We just apply that same class to this same button. And actually, as a matter of fact, here's the really cool thing about this project. Once we get this first div working and everything is written exactly the way it's supposed to be, we can literally just copy and paste. So that there are 6 of them on the page. Now if I run it, notice that I have 6 of them that all say my house. Now, I want to explain the float just a little bit. Let me break this out a little bit. So notice that there are 4 on the row here. And that's because of the screen size, right? If I were to shrink this just a little bit, notice that as soon as I encroach that territory where the box can't fit fully inside of that top row, it pushes it down over here and pushes these over, right? But when I grow it, it snaps it up there. That's the float left property at work. So basically these will all try to stack next to each other to the left. And as soon as they run out of room, they'll just go down to the next row. So that's how that works. And that makes it much more, that makes it easier for us to fit all these on the page well. Let's just, for example, don't do this. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to delete the float left, and I'll show you what it'll look like. It looks like this, right? So that's not what we want, right? That doesn't look great. So we want that float left property in there. Okay. All right. So now that I have all of these boxes, I have 6 boxes. Now I just go through each box and I just change the relevant information. So instead of my house, it's my car. Pick 1 is going to change to pick 2. So pick 2 and pick 2. And I need to change the picture that's being displayed by the image. So car.jpg instead of house.jpg. Next is job. Pick 3. Pick 3. Pick 3. And job. I don't know what I spelled bog. I don't know why. I don't know why I spelled bog. That was weird. Okay. And then money. So my bank account. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in my bank account. All right. It's going to be pick 4. Pick 4. Pick 4. And we'll change this to money. Now, here's something that's going to throw you off. I'm using all JPEGs, but sometimes JPEGs are JPG, and sometimes they're JPEG, right? And so make sure you're paying attention to the file extension as well as the name of the file, because if you just leave it JPG, like money.jpg in this example, that picture wouldn't show up, right? And then you'd be like, Mr. Storm, I need help. I don't know why my picture's not showing up. And then I'll be like, hey, did you watch the video? Because in the video I explain you got to pay attention to your file extensions or it's not going to work properly, right? So pay attention to your file extensions. Okay, so we have my bank account, my spouse. And this is going to be pick 5 and pick 5 and pick 5. And this is going to be spouse. Hey, there's another JPEG. So I got to pay attention to that and make sure that gets fixed. And then my hobby. All right. Pick 6. Pick 6. Pick 6. And that is going to be hobby.jpg. Now, if I've done all of this correctly, when I run this program, I should be able to open up each of these pictures individually and hide them as well, which I can. So there you go. Now, I know this is a bit late in the video to bring this up, but let's say you don't want to make a vision board. Let's say you don't like this idea, but you want to take this idea and turn it into, I don't know, a study guide for a test, like flashcards or something. Okay, I don't care. Let's say you want to turn it into like a trivia game or something. Okay, I don't care. I want you to be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build something that kind of functionally works like this, right? This is just an expansion of the picture changer project that we created last week, right? So that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for a bigger page that is well designed, that has images on it that can show and that can show up and go away whenever you click on them. Okay. All right. That's about it. Let me know if you need any help. This is our final project for the term, so hopefully you guys understand what we're doing here, and all of this is super easy, and hopefully you guys get excited about this kind of stuff. If you want to learn more web development, please take my web development classes in the future. Yeah, that's about it. All right. See you guys later. Peace.